Well, as the university's Vice-Chancellor, I am hugely supportive of sport here at Sunderland. I was a Vice-Chancellor in another university, the University of Reading, before I came here, and sport was there too, one of my major priorities. I think it's a great way for students to get involved, it's a great way for students to keep fit and healthy, and also for those who want to play at a competitive level. It's a wonderful opportunity to represent the university, so it's very, very important to me personally. Well, we were in a very good position prior to COVID. We were seeing new sports emerge, we were seeing more students take part, our coaches were enthusiastic, and of course, like everybody else, we had to adapt and adjust to COVID. And it was really difficult because sport, as we all know, is great not just for physical health, but also for mental health. And during the pandemic, with all the pressures that was upon that were upon everyone, the absence of sport was a big deal. Now, I think it's hugely to Team Sunderland's credit that it has bounced back very, very quickly. We saw people trying to participate as soon as it was allowed, again in part of 2020-21, but certainly in this last academic year, we have seen, I think, an extraordinary bounce back. We're seeing more students who are participating, we've seen some new sports emerge, we've actually seen some outstanding performances from sports teams. So I think the future is very optimistic, because far from worrying about whether sports would ever come back, they have come back, and they have come back in some strength. I'm very pleased to say that we haven't had to take any difficult financial decisions over sport. We've tried to do all that we can to support our sports activity and our sports teams. So, for example, things like the Elite Athletes programme is continuing. We've supported the purchase of new kit. We're talking about the possibility of building new sporting facilities. So actually, it's not had an impact at all. Now, if you'd asked me 2 years ago, in the spring of 2020, whether sport would be affected, I would have said, of course it will be affected, like everything else. But actually, we've come through the pandemic, I think, very well. And I think it's also really striking that students who have been members of Team Sunderland teams have spoken very highly of the support that they received, not just during the pandemic, but afterwards, and encouraging them back. So I'm really pleased to say that the university is able to support the sports teams in the way that Team Sunderland teams are supporting their members. Yes, I'm very open to future investment. I mean, obviously, as a city centre university, we don't have big sports fields that some other universities might have. My previous university, being a campus university, had quite a lot of sports fields and other facilities. We don't have that, although we've got an excellent gym and indoor performance space. We don't have the sports facilities outdoors. Now, we try to make sure that our teams are supported by making use of facilities elsewhere. And we've looked over different times at whether we could get our own sports fields. I suppose it's a good news story that actually space and facilities are tight in Sunderland. There are so many people who want to take part in sport in the city that it's not always easy for us to find new spaces to develop. But I'm really sympathetic to doing all that we can, and I've said to the colleagues who lead Team Sunderland that if they can come up with good ideas, we will always look very sympathetically at supporting them. And actually, if you look at some of the new sports that have taken off recently, we are showing that we're not prepared just to stand still. Where students and members of staff come up with really good ideas, we're happy to support new sports activities.